Scott was happy this morning because he is always the backup speaker in case the speaker doesn't arrive. Our speaker this morning is Dr. Jay Martin, who is the longtime soccer coach at Ohio Wesleyan. And I promise to make this very short, Jay. We can go into all the things that he has accomplished for the record book, more soccer wins than anything else, Hall of Fame inductions. He obviously grew up in a sports environment. In college, he played, he was an All-American lacrosse player. He played soccer, must have played some basketball at some point because he ended up playing professionally in basketball in Europe. Came back to the United States, got his PhD, was at Ohio Wesleyan. And you can read his bio about the wins in the national championships. But for Jay, it's about people. His foremost achievement, I'm sure he would tell you, was how did he get the beautiful Joanne to say yes to him?
She asked me.
But beyond that, it's about people. He is a teacher. What he looks for is, and he tries to do, is make his players and the students in his classroom be the best people that they can be. Has it worked? Yes, it has. You look at his players and his students and all the things that they have accomplished, and they understand what he has meant to them. Example, when Jay was inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame, a large number of his players from all of his decades on their own nickel came back to be with Jay, to celebrate with Jay. There is a story about a famous football coach who at one point was asked, "Is this the best team you've ever had?" And the coach responded, "I'll tell you in 20 years. That's the way Jay operates. Jay understands that answer. At this point, he will say, "Tim, shut up." And Jay, please take the mic.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning and thank you. Is this on?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Thanks. I just want you to know, I'm also a professor at Ohio Wesleyan, and I don't allow students to eat in my class. So you're breaking all the rules this morning. I'll just kind of ignore that, but thank you. And I knew Tim wouldn't go through the litany of wins, losses, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to show you. And I'm going to show you reluctantly. My wife made me do this, the lovely Joanne that Tim mentioned. She said to me, you're in Ohio and you're not a football coach. So you have to show these people that what you do really counts. Even though I'm a Division III soccer coach. So she wanted me to make sure that you know the culture that we're going to talk about is the culture is first, the process, and then the outcome takes care of itself. So very quickly, and as I said, reluctantly, let me see if I can figure this out. Okay, are there any questions? Am I doing this wrong?
Here we go.
Okay, very quick. I don't know if you can read this. We've won 2 national championships, 44 NCAA appearances, which is a record in all divisions. 10 Final Fours, which is fourth in Division III, 18 Elite Eights, the most in Division III, 29 Sweet 16s, 67 NCAA wins, which is the most in Division III, 23 conference championships, that's our conference overall record. NCAA conference tournaments, 11, 16 wins per season, 800 winning percentage, and that's the overall record. Enough of that. So thank you, but enough of that. I'm going to talk about culture today. Culture is something that's very important to me, and it is the foundation of what we do at Ohio Wesleyan. And culture, I think, is an overused term, especially in sports and athletics. Many people don't know what culture means. It's like the term we use all the time. Our team's a real family. Well, I'm not sure of that, but a lot of teams say that, which is fine. So what is culture? To me, culture is the way you go about your business. And what I do at Ohio Wesleyan is the same as what you do in your businesses. And basically, there are two things that we focus on. Results are important in your business, and they're important at Ohio Wesleyan. But the second thing is relationships. Relationships are important in your business, internally and externally, and that will help you get the results that you want. It's really simple, but it's really not. Coaching has changed. Leadership has changed. Both, in fact, I believe, for the better. Coaching is no longer the my way or the highway coach that many of you played for when you were younger. Unfortunately, in my opinion, coaching is moving too slowly, and we still have too many my way or the highway coaches out there. I look around, I hate to say this, I walk around my department and look at these young coaches. That means I'm the oldest in the department, which I have been for about 20 years. And they're writing on their whiteboard, all these plays and so on and so forth. And because I'm the old jerk in the department, I stick my head in and I go, hey, no offense, but that's not the answer. That's not the answer. I have a business relationship with Mike Krzyzewski, and he and I have met a number of times and we've talked about it. And we asked each other in one meeting a few years ago to list the top 10 priorities that we, Krzyzewski and myself, have for our teams. Tactics were like 7, 8, or 9. There are so many other things that are important besides tactics. So the steps to culture are as follows. Leaders create culture. And I want to tell you that the leaders at Ohio Wesleyan are not me. The leaders are the captains. There's a great book, as you can see, by Sam Walker. Sam Walker was the sports editor of the Wall Street Journal for a very long time. He might still be, I'm not 100% sure. It's called The Captain's Class. And what he wanted to do is he wanted to identify great programs. The New Zealand All Blacks, the Brazilian national soccer team, Greg Popovich's group in San Antonio, and so on and so forth. And he wanted to see what was the common denominator with these groups. He was thinking there'd be some magic potion or something. It wasn't the coach. The magic potion for these teams, they had great captains, and they had great captains who did a great job in leadership. I really recommend this book. It's a great read. He talks about sports all across the board, not just American sports, but sports from Brazil and sports from Cuba and so on and so forth. The captain's class. So leaders create the culture, and the leaders at Ohio Wesleyan, not me, the leaders are the captains. The culture drives the behavior of the organization. What we expect, a kind of behavior and the way we talk, the way we think, the way we dress, that is driven again by the captains. In college, it's very easy because we already have a hierarchy, don't we? You got seniors, juniors, and so on and so forth. So automatically, seniors are the leaders. A lot of seniors, especially college-age people, don't like to hear that. They don't want to lead. It's tough. And then behavior produces the results. And if you don't believe me, think of Greg Popovich and his teams. Think of Steve Kerr and his teams. Think of Pete Carroll until recently and his teams. Think of Mike Krzyzewski and his teams. Think of Tara Vanderveer, who actually started here and just broke Mike Krzyzewski's win record for basketball. This is how these people coach. It's relationships first. My whole thing is empowerment and relationships. Here's a quick soccer philosophy, and this, I think, also applies to your businesses. Number one is coaches, do not develop players. The problem in our society is that we're very coach-centric, and players come out to practice and they stand around and they wait for the coach to come out and tell them what to do. You don't get better doing that, and it's like your business. The people you work with, you cannot develop them. because only they can develop them and only players can develop themselves. And the sooner they learn that, the sooner they'll get better. That's how it is. If they don't learn it, if they're waiting for me to make them better, it's not going to happen. I don't have a magic wand. Congratulations, you're an All-America. That isn't how it works. So the old philosophy is to create an environment in which our players can get better. That's the coaching, hopefully. And more importantly, they want to get better. That's the motivation that the players bring. And as I said, you know, freshmen are clueless. They don't know what's going on because they've never been part of a team or had a coach like this who expects them to be their own leaders and expect them to make themselves better. It just doesn't happen. Of course, Al McGuire said the best thing that happens to freshmen is they become sophomores, and he's absolutely right. And in my case, it's maybe even juniors sometimes. That's how it is. The environment at Ohio Wesleyan is motivating, it's challenging, and it's fun. Everybody in this room likes to do things that are fun, and you're motivated to do things that are fun. And so are the players at Ohio Wesleyan. So we challenge them every single day, very quickly. 2 teams every day in practice. They compete against each other. We keep score. There's a winning team and a losing team at the end of practice. The winning team gets their picture taken and we put it on social media. And when I say we, it's very loose. We, my assistant coaches, do that. And the team that loses picks up the gear, cleans the locker room, whatever, and we do it again tomorrow. Because our guys like to compete, like many of you do. And you like to compete against your friends out there, right? And you like to beat your friends. And we use that philosophy in our practices to create this environment. The culture comes from within. I cannot impose culture on the team. Only the players can create the culture. So my whole thing is about player empowerment. My teams are not they're not a hierarchy. I'm not here and the players are here. That isn't how it is. We're here together. Here's me, here are the players. Because we're in this together, we've got to work together to get our results. So empowerment is really, really important. I ask the players every single day, how was that practice today? How was that second activity? Was it good? Was it bad? So on and so forth. What kind of uniforms do you want for next year? Who do you want to play next year? What tournaments do you want to go to? And the players make all these decisions. It empowers them and it makes our program more than just 4 to 6 in the afternoon. I have a lot of former players who are coaching, college, everything. And I always tell them that a team is 4 to 6 in the afternoon. A program is the other 22 hours of the day. And I said, you better create a program if you want sustained success. Very, very important. Relationships. I get around and practice every single day, and I talk to every player on the team. Not a big talk. Hey, how was that econ test yesterday? How you doing on that paper? Have you signed up for your classes for next semester? So on and so forth. Because I want to show them that I care about more than results, care about wins. But look, winning's important. You all know that. But it's how you go about being successful that, to me, is the most important thing. And that goes with total engagement with the players. My office is a zoo. I never get anything done in my office. I have to go home and try to get some work done there. Because players drop in every single day for the entire day. I have a big screen TV in there. They put on last night's game, they watch it, and so on and so forth. We talk and talk. Very little talk about soccer. Believe it or not, I don't know that much about soccer. So I got to talk about things that I know. The culture begins in preseason. You'll see in a moment here. Culture begins the first day of every single practice. Some of you may be familiar with this. This is from Robert Tuckman. He was a social psychologist. He came up with this in the late 60s or early 70s. And he was studying how small companies put themselves together. And of course, when I saw this, I said, hey, we're a small company. We just do things differently than other companies. Forming is preseason. No pressure, no problems. Everybody's happy. We're 0-0, no big deal. Excuse me. Storming then, the guys start competing with each other to get a job on the field. And a lot of problems can develop in storming. And if you've ever been on a team, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I believe that very few teams get through the storming phase. Very, very few. If you're on a team that's lucky enough to get through, then you have the norming stage where everybody comes together and we're all fighting for the same goals. And then and only then will you be able to get into the performing stage and play at the highest level. But the storming phase is really, really difficult. I'm going to show you in a second how and what we try to do to develop that. All right. First day of practice. Every single season. The players, not the coaches, the players create our value system. On this pyramid, we call them character goals. Commitment, family, respect, humility, fun, and accountability. If I had set those goals, family wouldn't be in there, but I don't set them. I'm not even in the room when this happens. So the captains run this exercise. The first thing we do is create our values, and the players create the values. Theoretically, there's better and quicker buy-in if the players do that, right? Instead of me telling them what our values should be, they're not going to listen to that. They tell me what they want for their values. So a lot of things are happening here. The captains are exercising some leadership. The other players are exercising some what I call followership and learning how to be a leader. So when they're a captain, they can take this over. Then we set off the field goals, which, as you can see, deal with GPAs. This is a little, this is 2012. So our GPA expectation is much higher now. The GPA on the team is a 3.45 right now. The 48-hour rule talks about drinking. Half the team is legal, right? So we got to address it. And 0 arrests. I always think that's a really good goal. And I think it's a really good goal for all of you, as a matter of fact. I mean, I just think about that. When I show this to coaches groups, they can't believe it, but that's how it is. Attend class and so on and so forth. Then the guys set the competitive goals. The players set these goals. As you can see, I can't quite read them. Win every NCAA conference game, give up fewer than 10 goals, score more than 50 goals, and so on and so forth. And once again, this is done by the players. So in the dog days of the season in October, when practice is terrible, I can call them in and I can say, hey guys, do you remember your goals that we set in August? Your goals? Well, you said you want to win every NCAA game. We have an NCAA opponent tomorrow. We got to get better. We got to do a better job practicing. These are your goals, not mine. I keep telling them I have tenure. I don't care if we win any games. It just doesn't matter, right? So, and I think the key is that the guys do this. And many coaches that I know and talk to about this won't do that. The coaches want to impose their goals and their values on the team. And to me, that's just counterproductive. It just, in my opinion, just does not work. And so it takes a little time, and this takes an entire day, believe it or not. Our guys take this really seriously. Then we laminate this thing, and you can see on the side, maybe every guy, including the coaches, signs it. And we hang it. We have in our locker room, we have a team room, and then we have the lockers. We hang it on the door that goes from the team room to the lockers. Do the guys read it every day? No, they don't, but it's there. And after they do it, I can always, and I remind them about this, their goals as we go through the season. So the value exercise, I just explained, the MBO, graduate school at Ohio State. I managed it by objectives. I took a course. I had all my credits. I just needed a course. And I changed that to motivation by objectives. And we set goals. We've set goals. I coached lacrosse for 10 years also. We've set goals for every team that I've coached. The guys set the goals, their goals. And it's a process, one-on-one, when I meet the guys 3 times a year and we go over their goals. And that's very simple now for me to evaluate them, isn't it? And measure if they've had improvement. Did you reach your goals? These are your goals. What do you mean you didn't reach it? You set these goals, not me. And goal setting is an art and a science. As I said, freshmen don't know what the hell I'm doing. and their goals are absolutely pathetic. I had a freshman a few years ago, and the first part of every goal setting is a self-evaluation. I can't explain to you how important self-evaluation is. Until you can honestly and accurately assess yourself in a mirror, you're not going to get better. And that's what I tell my guys. And this kid, after I looked at his self-evaluation and he came into my office, I said, you shouldn't be playing here. You should be playing in the MLS. What's wrong with you? It's totally unrealistic. Self-evaluation, terrible. So we got to teach them. And then the next year he comes in and he beat himself up that he so badly that I told him again, you shouldn't be here if you're that bad. Self-evaluation, set the goals, a one-on-one with the coach, that we revise and tweak the goals. A performance appraisal, how are you doing? Trying to get those goals, and then we do it again. Cyclical, ongoing process. Do it again. So by the time the guys at juniors, for sure, they're doing this on their own. And this is a skill that they could take with them for the rest of their lives. I wish I had the proverbial dollar for every time I had a former player tell me that they still use this goal setting stuff. I think that's a very important lesson. But again, look, every time I tell coaches this in a coaching clinic, they say to me, Jay, doesn't this take a lot of time? I go, yeah, it takes a lot of time. I meet with each kid on the team 3 times every single year. It takes a lot of time. How much do you like to win? That's my answer. How much do you like to win? Because I'm showing these guys that I really care about them beyond the soccer field. We have a leadership council made up of the captains and a representative from each class that's voted on by the team. The leadership council takes care of all the discipline problems, all of them. They've come up with what I think is a great idea. We call it community service hours. Because look, college is where students do stupid things, right? Every person in this room did stupid things in college. I guarantee that. And gentlemen, you did more stupid things than the women in your class, believe me. And I know that's true. I don't mind if they do stupid things. I'm one of the most liberal coaches you'll ever meet. If they keep doing stupid things, we have a problem. And the leadership council will take care of that. So the community service hours is, say one of our players who's underage is caught on campus with an open beer. Now, instead of suspending them or cutting them or doing all those stupid things, the leadership council will give him community service hours. I don't know what that, in that particular example, I don't know what the number is. Let's say it's 8. So this kid owes the team 8 hours, which means maybe 4 nights of doing the laundry, cleaning the floor in the locker room, picking up trash, whatever it is. So the consequences for that stupidity, the kid takes care of that, the player, not the team, not the team. And it's just, and again, I say this to coaches, they think I'm an idiot. And I mean, I know a coach who's actually my brother-in-law. When somebody does something stupid on his team, he has the guy stand right next to him while the whole team does sprints until somebody gets sick. Now, can somebody in this room tell me what the hell is that? And he played at Ohio Wesleyan. And he is my brother-in-law. And I can't, my son was an assistant coach with him and told me that. I said, you gotta be kidding me. What good is that? But anyway, players set the agenda. We meet every Monday afternoon at, whatever time. And the players set the agenda. I use this leadership group. How are things going? How is practice going? How is this going? Blah, blah, blah. And then I told you already about community service hours. The facility. One of my things, and I'm not sure I should say this, but my book was published in November, and one of the chapters in the book is called The Little Things. The difference between average, good, and great players and organizations is that the great ones do the little things that the others either won't do or can't do, and it's usually the won't, because we're not asking to do very much. And so the little things are very, very important. We don't allow buildings and grounds to do anything on our field except cut the grass and put the lines down, because we're not capable of that. We pick up the trash after the games. We clean the locker room ourselves. We do our own laundry. We do it all, and the guys do it. It's part of doing the little things that make you a better player. If you don't do the little things off the field, you're not going to do the little things on the field. That's just how it is. You don't change as a person when you go on the field. They pick up the trash, they wash the laundry, clean the floors, showers, etc., and I will, and of course, wash the coach's car. I think that's very important. Let me just say something. My 20 minutes up yet? You got me on a stopwatch there?
Yeah.
All right. Let me just say something about leadership. You know how it is, all of us in this room have, for some reason, read or done something that sticks with you. I was a Boy Scout. Chapter 4 of the Boy Scout Handbook. The title is Leadership. There are 2 pictures on the top. Both pictures have 4 scouts. One is clearly the leader, and the other 3 are followers. The first picture says, go get some wood. The second picture says, let's go get some wood. See the difference? Let us, it's a contraction. Let us go get some wood. And I've never forgotten that. And I've been in many, many leadership positions. And that's one of the, I think, common denominators of my philosophy. I do the laundry as much as those guys do. I sweep the locker room floor as much as the team does. I want to show them that the little things make a huge difference. The culture difference between, I already told you, pick up the trash, we move the goals, we find soccer balls. Our practice field is surrounded by wooded areas, so chipmunks have plenty of soccer balls back there. We have game goals and so on. We say please and thank you. I never call a player by his last name ever. It's please or thank you. Thank you. Please help me pick up the soccer balls. Thank you very much. Please move that goal over to that field. Thank you very much. And it's never nicknames and it's never last names. And I treat the staff, and I want the guys to treat the staff as part of the team. Because sometimes, the trainers and the managers, players can be sometimes can be jerks and don't treat them the way they should be treated. The end. And I could go on forever, but I can't any longer. I was just told to see if anybody has questions. Oh, geez. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
For new coaches that are getting hired at Ohio Wesleyan, they walked in and talked about the things that you've been talking about this morning. What kind of reception would they have to the candidate?
The question was, the coaches at Ohio Wesleyan?
Or anywhere else?
Any coach? The questions, if coaches walked in here and they heard what I just said, what would the reaction be? And I do this in a lot of coaching clinics and things. And the reaction is skepticism. They don't believe that it's going to work. Because why are people coaches? They're coaches because they had some success athletically on their teams. And so they coach like their coach coached. So there's very little evolution in coaching, which is really, even the department at Ohio Wesleyan, it's really disappointing. Very, very little evolution. And Division I coaches will say to me, well, my job depends on this. I can't have the players make decisions. And I keep saying, look at how many wins we've had. We've had more wins at Ohio Wesleyan than any other soccer team in any other division in this country. What else do they need to know? If they want to win, what else do they need to know? So it's been an uphill fight, even in our department in Ohio Wesleyan, unfortunately. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I'm intrigued by your philosophy of no last names, no nicknames. Now, here in college, everyone has a nickname, and it's kind of fun to call people by their funny nickname.
Right.
So I want to hear about that. And then secondly, would my jersey say my first name on it, on the back, or not? Because most jerseys have your last name on it.
No, we don't put any names.
So no names on the
No,
jersey.
because it's the team talking about the team. So the question was about the about no nicknames, how it goes over with the guys. I don't care if the guys call each other nicknames by their, that doesn't bother me at all. I don't do that.
Okay.
I don't do that. And I don't like people calling me, hey, Mark, blah, blah, blah. So I don't do that either, you know, and in fact, I don't like people calling me coach. I don't like people calling me Dr. Martin, because my name is Jay. And my players call me Jay, and my people in my classes call me Jay. And, it's, and people always say, why? I said, that's my name. You don't walk into a bank, do you, and say, good morning, banker, how are you? No, you don't do that. And, a quick aside, I assistant coach when I was getting my PhD at Ohio State, and Woody Hayes used to be so irritated with me that my players called him Jay. He used to lecture me all the time. Why do you let your players call you Jay? You're a coach. I go, well, Jay's my name. So I don't know. Yes, sir.
With your goal setting, do the players ever say anything less than undefeated? Do they, I mean, they wouldn't, say, well, we expect to lose, so.
No, we don't expect to lose, but we lose occasionally. I mean, I forget, we've lost 150 games, something like that, whatever it is. We used to always, the guys always used to put national championship on the goal setting thing and undefeated seasons. But now they understand that both of those things are great goals, but really, really difficult. Winning a national championship is really hard. Ask Ryan Day next time you see him, right? or even Thad Motto, right? When he was here, it's hard. It's hard. So so that doesn't happen much very often. In fact, we haven't put national champion for a number of years now. Did somebody else? Anybody else? Is that it? Oh, sir.
Hi, you've built an amazing program, great record of success, and this cultural part I'm very intrigued with. You've probably been offered positions at higher levels, you know, D1 or whatever, and you've chosen to stay there. Tell us about why you stayed at.
The question was, why am I still at Ohio Wesleyan, basically? Right? And yes, I have had a number of, I was also athletic director for 21 years, so I've had a lot of offers, primarily D3 athletic director positions, but the AD position is just terrible, so I don't want to do that. And I have had Division I soccer. I even was offered the Columbus Crew job before Ziggy Schmidt came. But all the D1 jobs didn't have teaching in the job description, and I love teaching, and so I decided to come back. And secondly, my wife had a very, very, very good business, a catalog company. She made a lot of money, and so I said, what the hell, we better stay here, right? That's how it is. Sir.
I just like to say that my daughter was coached by 3 of your players over her years in high school. Bill Pelock, Andy Gessinger, what was Chris's? I can't think of Chris's last name. Christoph, right? And it was an incredible experience.
Good, thank you very much. I didn't think those guys listened to me. And that makes me feel really good.
One more question.
Uh-oh.
Two more questions.
No, let's ask you a question. He's known this guy for like 30 years.
About 30 years ago, it may have been you being required to do community service, but you led a coaches clinic for youth coaches. And number one priority was, is it fun?
Right.
And the games that we played and that you instructed, every kid on the team had to bring a ball to practice. They couldn't stand in line.
Correct.
Have you written any books on youth soccer?
I'm editor of the Soccer Journal, also. And I was the editor of 3 books where I took the best articles from Soccer Journal and put them together. And one of the books dealt 100% with youth soccer. 100%. Was even published in China. So I don't know what that means. Yes, ma'am.
Were you saying that the team comes up with the goals and shows the list of goals, and then they have individual goals as well that you
Correct.
meet with them on?
That's correct. Team goals and individual goals. that it?
One more?
One more.
Two more?
How do you prepare players to be captains?
How do you prepare players to be captains? I'm doing that right now with next year's captains. In fact, today, every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, I meet with the captains. And there's a book that was written by this guy named Jeff Jansen. And it's a manual on how to be a captain. It's like a workbook. And so we talk about, define leadership, then we talk about confidence, and then we talk about all these things. And there are 10 chapters in the book, so we meet for 10 weeks before next year. And they have to fill out it's a workbook. They fill out all this stuff and we talk about it for an hour or so and we go on. It's funny, college athletes don't like to be leaders. They're afraid they're going to offend their friends, which is ridiculous. I don't, because on the field, when you get off the field, who cares? In the heat of the battles, you say stupid things. Who cares? Yes, ma'am?
Class do you teach?
I teach sports psychology. My PhD, in those days, there was no sports psychology PhDs. So I had to kind of make my own at Ohio State with the psychology class, physical education. And I teach a course, just a new one this year called Leadership and Coaching. They think I know something about it. I don't know, you have to ask the students. I'm struggling with that one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. Wonderful information. Thank you, Jay, for your talk. Yes.
If people weren't completely enraptured with what Jay was speaking, a lot of what's in there is in his recently released book
Okay, great.
with a lot of sites